Eastern American time. This is between Felix Stenich at the top and Wim de Kock at the bottom. There's everything to play for here, except for Modern. Felix has wrapped up Modern, but the Legacy, both of these players are competing for the Legacy and Standard crowns. And Felix has a 7-point lead for the Grand Champion. So if Eric at the bottom can win 2 formats, then he's giving himself a chance. Of course, Felix, if he can pick up a point in each of those, might still be enough for him to win the title. Actually, the gap's 7. No, sorry. So Wim has to win. Eric has to win all 3 formats to have a chance. Because 7-point gap. If Felix wins a format, it goes to 11. The best that Eric can do is make up 8. We're just looking at Felix's hand at the bottom there. We'll switch to Eric. Looks like a soul tie mirror match. No thanks. I'm a little surprised he let... Oh, I suppose he can fatal push before the attack so that he doesn't get the energy trigger. There's Felix, he moves to attack. Yeah, there it is there. Okay. But these mirror matches, they normally come down to who resolves the Hydra the first. You can see Eric, we're looking at Felix's hand right now. He's got 2 Gear Hulks, so he's a bit top heavy, but he's only 1 land away. And the slight difference here, I don't think Eric's playing Gear Hulk's main, and I don't think Felix will play Ether Sphere Harvester main. Both of these are kind of unique choices for each player. As he finds a fatal push, he doesn't have the... He can't revolt it here to get the Ether Sphere Harvester down. So Eric's just looking for something to crew the Harvester. He's got a Hydra, but that's a prime target for the Essence Scatter that Felix has in hand. He might go for the Long Tusk Cub first, just to try and bait any counter spell. We'll see if he does. Ether Sphere Harvester. No, he's going to go for the Bristling Hydra. So this is going to be a good value counter spell here for Felix. This will draw the Essence Scatter for sure. Of course, in Soul Tie colours, neither of these players has a good answer to a resolved Bristling Hydra. White has the recent printing of Settle the Record, which is an excellent card to deal with it. As Felix now, let's see what his draw for the turn is. I don't have a mouse plugged in, so I'm trying to use this crappy trackpad. It's very unresponsive. You can see the fatal push there. The fatal push is going to take down the Long Tusk Cub, but not before it can crew the Harvester. Did you just see what Eric's draw for the turn was? The Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Of course, the Ether Sphere Harvester is out of Gear Hulk range. Nothing really in the graveyard that... There's nothing in Felix's graveyard that makes for a good Gear Hulk target at this stage. As he fires off his Fatal Push to take down the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. So that's going to mean that Felix is out of removal spells. So the Ether Sphere Harvester can get in safely here. What's the Gear Hulk going to find? He probably wants a Glimmer of Genius at this stage, so that he can find that 6th land and also have a good target for the Gear Hulk. Again, apologies for the coughing, I've got a bit of a cold. Just waiting for Eric to see what the draw is for the turn here. This event has been live. It's not really live streamed. I set a delay of 5 minutes. There's the 6 for There's a 6 land for the Gearhulk, but all he's got is a counter spell in the graveyard. I set a delay of 5 minutes on the stream just so that to avoid any issues of players watching the stream to see what the other one's getting. Yeah, Felix reporting some lag here. This is on the group server. So holds up 6 mana, 2 in hand. The only thing here is the Gearhulk can ambush the Long Tusk Cub if Eric draws another creature that would crew the Harvester, but it doesn't look like he has. It looks like a Tune with Ether was the draw for the turn. It was. Yeah, he makes a sneaky play. That's a good play. So he plays the Forest so he can play it out and disguise that other card in hand. Six mana up. Oh, he's gonna get sucked in by the Gearhulk. He can pump it 4 times, so he could trade. He could trade with the Gearhulk here. And you can see Felix, he chooses no blocks. So down comes the Gearhulk. He's going to try and race back the other way. Nothing in the graveyard to flash back. Just checking to see if the stream is online. Yeah, the stream is online. Okay, I forget to chat in the stream, so I'm going to do that now. Oh shit, I'll put that on pause. Hold on. Actually, I'll shut the stream. I'm not going to keep it open because just in case it causes lag issues here. Oh, he had a fatal push. Okay, that makes sense. So big advantage here to Felix now. Fatal push is not going to do it. And he can only pass the turn. Does Felix get aggressive here and throw in the next Gearhulk? No. See what his draw was for the turn. A Whirl of Virtuoso. So this is not looking good for Eric. What can Eric find for the turn? Another land. Oh, he's got a Ballista, but I think that's going to get the second Gearhulk, and I think game 1 is going to go to Felix Stenitzer here. He'll Gearhulk for the Essence Scatter, and game 1 of Standard, as the concession comes. Just while those two sideboard, I'm going to quickly go and get some breakfast, because it's 9 o'clock in the morning here. Okay, so they're both sideboarding. I think in terms of creature removal, Eric will be looking at things like Vraska's Contempt because he's seen the two Gearhulks. Remember the second one was flash down to flash back the Essence Scatter at the end of the match, so he knows his 2 Gear Hulk's main board. As we're back now, I think Felix's deck is pretty well set up to beat these mid-range decks anyway. Yeah, we're looking at a very awkward one-lander, so this one is a keep. We'll see what Felix has decided to keep. You can see he's got the Glimmer this time. Supreme will be a very good counter spell in this matchup. No black sources here for Felix. The Harvester is going to be able to resolve here. And just look at one's chooses not to place counters, so Felix on the hunt for a black source just to remove that long tusk cub. You can see the second one in hand. He's got an Attune. He's kept up Supreme Will rather than Attune. Supreme Will can get that Constrictor if he wants. Yep, he does. Next turn he can Attune for the black, get the Fatal Push, take down the long tusk cub. I've never played these mid-range decks, so I'm not really sure in a mid-range mirror where both sides have Fatal Push, how much you want to commit to these long tusk cubs, because they're not long to the world. Even if you pump them very large, they still die to a Fatal Push, unrevolted Fatal Push. But Felix is going to let it survive for a turn. So he's going to take a beating here. Eric's going to be able to play out a second one, equip the Harvester, and get in with the Harvester and the Long Tusk Cup. Oh, and shields down comes Scarab God, so neither of these decks have a very good way of getting rid of it, except for Vraska's Contempt. And with Felix up again, it's worth reminding people that the winner of this match will be the European Standard Champion. This is almost a mirror match of what happened last year, where these two were clearly out in front of everybody else by quite a large margin. Last year, it was 30 points. Okay, my breakfast is finished, sorry about that. Okay, down comes Fatal Push main phase, but the problem with the Fatal Push here is that Scarab God's going to get it back as a 4-4 at some point. And so I'm just bringing up the live ladder for this one now. The gap this time, Alessandro Moretti finished third. Heading into this final round, the gap is 20, 50, 20. The gap is 25 points. So the gap between second and third is 25 points. Last year it was 30 points. So it means maybe the rest of the competition's getting a little bit better. Eric's going to be able to get in here again with the Harvester. See what Felix has got in hand. Felix was really had a problem with that, with resolving, finding that black mana source. The delay has really cost him. He's down to 6 here. He's going to have to chump block with the Rogue Refiner. But you can see here, this is a nice play from Eric. I like this. He's just playing around a Fatal Push, so he had lethal on board with the Scarab God and Aethersphere Harvester, which would force a block from the Rogue Refiner. But when the Rogue Refiner dies, it means that Fatal Push is live. So what he did, he didn't spin the Scarab God, swing the Scarab God, so that the Revolt can't work. So now you can see he's got the match, because he's got a lethal attacker in the Aethersphere Harvester, and I don't believe Gonti flies. No flying on Gonti. He just casts a Gonti just to get a bit of information and then concedes. So you can look at the first 4 cards of Eric's deck just to get an idea of what he sideboarded. So we're going to game 3. That's a good win from Eric, and I really like that play at the end of not swinging the Scarab God. It's very switched on. Of course, the incentive there to swing it, they're straight back into it now. The incentive there to swing it would have been to get the Rogue Refiner in the bin, so that Scarab God could bring it back and get a card draw. But he had lethal on board, so he didn't need to do that. We're just looking at hands now. This is Eric's hand on. Eric's not on the play this time, but it looks like a pretty nice draw there. He probably keen on hitting the 3rd land. We'll look at what Felix is on. 1, 2. Felix has got his 3rd land. He's got a removal spell, so it's not a bad hand for either one. So this should be an interesting contest. Felix with the Fatal Push to deal with that. And tons of card draw coming here. No mucking around here. Fatal Push. He's got Wheel of Virtuoso coming next turn. Looking in good shape here. What's Eric got in response? You can really see in these matches the advantage of playing first. Eric's under a fair bit of pressure actually to find that 3rd land. He's going to get the card draw next turn, but now he's got big problems because those Glint-Sleeve Siphoners have Menace, so they're both going to be able to get in here, dropping him to 14. As he missed his 3rd land drop, we'll see what Felix is going to have. A Wheel of Virtuoso coming down most likely. And with 2 of them swinging, it means he's got he'll get enough energy each turn for a card draw. And he's going to be able to actually draw 2 cards next turn. So this is not looking good already for Eric. This is the European Championship right here. Again, misses the land drop. No attacks. So it means he can comfortably pick off a Glint-Sleeve Siphoner here. And there's the Glimmer, so it's all just lining up here for Felix. Cast at main phase. Looking for a fatal push. So if he doesn't find a fatal push, he can play one of his tap lands. There's a Vraska's Contempt. And he's sticking with the aggressive route here. I would be inclined to take down one of those Siphoners. But it would mean losing his own Siphoner. Again, repeating, Eric has to win all 3 formats to win the European Championship. If Felix takes a format, he's a European champion. He's looking very well placed at the moment. Likewise, Modern has been decided. Felix has won Modern, and Standard and Legacy are up for grabs. So what's the? He draws on a turn. Okay, so but he's still a turn behind. Like 2, 4, 5, but you can see the fatal push in the bin here, or the Glimmer. So there's a lot of options open here for Felix to flash back that Gear Hulk and remove the Long Tusk Cub. He's not going to do it this turn. Got all the time in the world. Vraska's Contempt can even remove one. Just too much card advantage here, I think. And this is kind of 2, 4, 5. I think he needs to Vraska's Contempt before blocks here, so that the menace will kick in. Okay, so he's requested a rollback. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. It's a bit strange. But you did a misclick. I was going to say, but both of these players are too good to make that sort of error. We'll just hopefully that the in this game 3, the rollback bug doesn't kick in. No, it hasn't. It's waiting for Eric. Unfortunately, I was playing yesterday and the rollback bug was still there. It's been there for about a year now. What the? I haven't seen that before. Looks like I can change their words. Yeah, look, I can change their words. How bizarre. Okay, so this is going to hopefully get him back into the match. Give him a bit of life gain. He's down to 8 life. We've got Felix can flash back Vraska's Contempt here in response to the activation. He also now has a Harness Lightning. See what Eric's got in hand. As in they come. So this is going to be a blowout, this one. 2, 4, 5. He's going to take 6 and drop to 2, and I think it'll bring a concession once the Gear Hulk comes down. Gear Hulk for Vraska's Contempt to remove Aethersphere Harvester before blocks, and that will mean Felix will be the European champion and also the Standard champion. Down comes the Gear Hulk, and I think that's going to bring a concession, and we're going to switch to DE server for the Modern and Legacy. I don't think there's any way out of this. There's no card in standard in Sultai colours that can save Eric here. He says this game was brutal. I think he was always behind the 8-ball right from the start. You can see the difference in this mirror match between being on the play and on the draw. And what can he find? A walk the plank? Well, that's going to take down the... He still needs to deal with the 2 Thopters, flying Thopters, and he can't deal with it, so that's the concession from Eric, and Felix is the champion. And we're going to switch over to DE server now. I'm just going to, oh, I can't be bothered changing my username. For modern. And this is going to be a freaking problem. This makes it more difficult to find. Maybe I'll get them to do a password. Yeah, D looks like it's big traffic. Oh, there it is there. Okay, I see it at the top. Just waiting for Wim to, Eric to jump in here. Okay, we're all set to go for modern. Okay, we're back now with what's essentially a dead rubber, because Felix is already the modern champion. As I believe that's Felix's hand on the bottom. He's been playing it for a while, that 5-color human deck. Eric's on... I don't even know what this is. Oh, elves, okay. But Wolf Skull Shaman. Oh, that's quite a nice card actually, Wolf Skull Shaman. So I'm guessing this is going to be a pretty quick match. A lot of collected companies. This is going to be interesting to see who can get the widest the fastest. Eric just needs one more land. Oh, he's got the actually he's got the Arch Druid, so he actually has enough to play the collected companies. Kite Sail Freebird is going to take one of those companies, but with 2 companies and a cord, it doesn't really matter here. As you can see, Felix actually has a... he drew the champion for the turn, so not too bad. I was going to say he has quite a weak hand. First strike on the Thalia means it's a safe swing. So the freebooter will take what? As we look at Eric's hand, he takes a collected company. So you can see that there's a bit of a board presence there for the humans player, and Eric's going to take a bit of a hit this turn, but next turn we can company. Oh, he's getting aggressive. I think he was just anticipating another human to pump that champion, because he can't really viably block it because Felix can violin something there. But Thalia is going to be massive here. Parish up to a 4. Champion of the parish up to a 4/4. Big hits coming. 3, 7. Oh yeah, gets in there 9. So he's not going to knock him down to 9. Is it 9 here? 7 here. No more threats. He's out of cards. Big play here for Eric. What can he come up with? Dwynen's Elite will get him. Unfortunately, that Wolf Skull Shaman, it hasn't got him a single wolf. Dwynen's Elite is going to get him 2 blockers. He does have to deal with that Kite Sail freebooter. It's going to be hitting for 3 a turn at least. And see what Felix can find for the turn. Freebooter. Elf Shaman. Okay, so this is going to be hard cast, so it's going to force the collected company before blocks, which is a nice play. It'll take the Court of Calling. Oh, and that might, is that enough to get him back into it? Shaman of the Pack is gonna do some damage here. 2, 4, 6 damage, put him to 11. He's got Azuri, so Azuri can pump next turn. But he doesn't have a green source. No green source to regenerate an elf. I think that might be enough. He might have lethal on board next turn. So the Kite Sail is going to take the Court of Calling. He can chump block Champion of the Parish here. You can see Felix is out of cards. So he can chump with the Elf Warrior. Kite Sail will get in. He might just be tempted just to go with the Kite Sail here, because then he's got lethal next turn. So if he pumps that, he needs 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. So he can get it there. So he's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacking creatures, all 6 6s. That is going to... Well, he only needs to block the champion here. Felix is out of cards. He can go to 1. I think the correct block here is just to block the champion of the Elf Warrior. Then he'll have 2, 4 of them swinging. But no, Felix has got it covered. I think game 1 is going to go to Felix. Unless the only way out of this I can see is if Eric peels another Shaman of the Pack off the top. Yep, there's the block. He goes to 1, so there's lethal on board from the Kite Sails next turn. Does this shaman finally find something? A mystic? That's not what you want. But the 5 lands, 1, 2. No, he's going to be one. He's 1 green short of. The wolf is not an elf. Actually, he can't tap the Horizon Canopy anyway because he's only down to 1 life. I think he's short, isn't he? As he swings the 4. No, wait. Yeah, he's got lethal right there. He's managed to steal the game. 1 gets through to knock him to 5. The others get blocked. Yeah, so game 1's going to go to Eric. He managed to pull that one out. Thanks to Azuri. And is this, the humans deck doesn't really play any creature removal. Just waiting for the sideboard, I'll be right back. I think both of these decks, from my limited experience with each, and always as an opponent, they don't play a lot of creature removal. I think now that Felix knows what he's up against, I think he has a decided advantage here, because you could see in that game, one major way that Eric needs to win is with Azuri. And Felix will play 4 meddling mages, so he can name meddling mage, and there's quite a few targets that can shut down this elves deck as they're back into it now. Having said that, the elves deck does have collected company to get around meddling mage. He may be tempted to meddling mage and name collected company. As we see that he's kept a 1 lander, not too bad when you've got mana dorks. We'll see what Felix has got. Well, that's going to be a good card here, is Ecstatic Caster. And he's bought in the Graph Digger's Cage. It's going to be interesting to see if there's any Reclamation Sages on the other side. Thalia Heretic Cathar is going to be a big one here as well. Oh, so you can see he's up to 3 now. So there's no oh, that's a huge turn too from Eric. But this is going to put huge pressure on Felix now. Does he knows that he's in collected company range next turn, so does he play the... How's he going to do this? No, he's not. He's going to... Oh, but is it Static Caster's going to mop this board up if this collected company doesn't find anything? See what the draw is for the turn over here. But that Heretic Cathar's a big roadblock. Now that Wolf Shaman, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, he can play the collected company here. He's got enough. It'll tap down his creatures. This is going to force a response right here. Now, I'm curious to see if he bought in a Reclamation Sage. Now, does Felix violin the Staticaster here? Because no, he doesn't. I was going to say if Eric finds one of the lords, then it's going to do some damage. He might just do it now just to save a point. That took 9 damage, put Felix down to 6. Has he got lethal on board? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 about to swing. Reflector Mage effectively takes care of 2, then he's got 2 blockers, 4 get through. He can't play both the Staticaster and the Reflector Mage, as all the knuckleheads come in. What do you violin here? You can get 2 Elf Warriors with the Staticaster. Okay. Yeah, I think the Staticaster's got a... What do you block with the Staticaster? Yeah, it's... He's trying to save damage here. He'll take down the 2 Elf Warriors, but no, it's not enough. So Eric has taken Modern 2 games to 0, so a tight standard looking like it might be decisive here. As we're about to head to Legacy. It'd be a real shame for Eric, but an exciting end if he was to take the Legacy. So we do have something on the line here. This Legacy contest will decide the European Legacy champion. Felix has already wrapped up Grand Champion thanks to his win in Standard, but this is the last title on the line. Whoever wins here is the Legacy champion. And I suspect Felix has traditionally been on an Eldrazi build. Yeah, he's on that again. Chalice, Ancient Tomb, Chalice for 1 is going to be big here. If Eric's on what we expect him to be on. Hold on, what's going on? I just requested permission to see the hand. Yep, he's on his Reanimator. So he does have a daze, so that's going to be able to take care of the Chalice for 1. Yeah, he's. I call her a partner in crime. We both play the Reanimator, so I've got a soft spot here. And down comes Chalice, so it's going to eat a daze. For quite a while, Eric was on the traditional black-red build, which could not deal with that turn 1. Oh! It's not going to matter because he can still play around it with Exhume and Animate Dead. What does he reanimate? Chancellor or Elish Norn? I think you go for... I think you go for Elish Norn to give all his creatures -2 because I don't think that they normally play Dismember in this Eldrazi list, and it doesn't. So Dismember will not kill Elish Norn, although it won't kill Chancellor either. Chancellor might be a decent land tax, yeah. Particularly when he's on Ancient Tomb, it means he's going to have to pay 1 extra for all his spells. But if he can find a Chalice for 2. That's going to be very painful for Eric to overcome. You can see the Smasher in hand there. 2, 4. So he's going to be able to play a temple and play it next turn. But Smasher, and there's a concession very quickly. So Reanimator takes game 1 against Eldrazi. You can see Chalice is normally, Chalice for 1 is very problematic for the Reanimator player to deal with. So luckily he had, he was on the play there, and he could play with that days. But ultimately it didn't matter, and a very quick game 1 goes to Eric Helden, and he's one win away from the Legacy Championship. It makes if he wins this after taking Modern 2-0, it makes that standard 2-1 result even more entertaining. Just sideboarding. I'm not sure what the Eldrazi player has in sideboard. I would imagine generally in this format it's either Surgical Extraction or Graph Digger's Cage. I'd imagine he's expecting probably Graph Digger's Cage. Quite a long sideboard here. I've just started playing a Reanimator myself, and it's always a guess between, are they bringing in Artifact Hate for the sideboard, for the grave, or are they bringing in spells like the black spell whose name escapes, Surgical Extraction. Because if you bring in something like a Wear Tear, it's useless against a Surgical Extraction. That's tempting. That I think he keeps that. No, he doesn't. Oh, he's got a Chancellor. As we see, Eric keeps that hand. Oh, ley. Okay, so he's got ley lines. So now, if he doesn't have, if Eric doesn't have Wear Tear, this could be going to game 2. You can see he's got the threats there. One thing, sometimes this deck, sometimes this deck will play Grave Titan. I play Grave Titan in mine because you can actually hard cast Grave Titan quite easily. 2 Dark Rituals will cast a Grave Titan. But you can, oh, okay, so he's got the Wear Tear. You could see Eric was digging quite aggressively to find that. Now he's just got to find the red source for it. 1 more land. Not quite sure why he didn't play that land that turn. Oh, Wasteland, of course. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of graveyard hate going on here. This is going to be huge. If Eric can beat an enchantment and an artifact targeting his graveyard, I'll be amazed. What he needs here to start with is a fetch land, so that he can actually fetch and play the Underground Sea in the same turn to play that Wear Tear. But this is going to be difficult. I think that we're going to a game 3 here. Chalice for 1. I think if he played Chalice just now for 2, it would have been a lock, but no, we're going to see a concession anyway. That's an impossible match to win against an artifact and an enchantment. You saw he had the Wear Tear, so he could have actually fused it and removed both, but the wasteland was just making it impossible. The only way to play around it was to get 2 fetches, play his land, and then fetch both at the same time, because so that he can float the mana in response to the wasteland. But that's a huge uphill battle to pull something like that off. As they're quickly back into it, and I think we're going to see the full set of 4 wear tears from. There's another ley line in the main. You can see at the bottom of the screen what Eric's kept. He doesn't have a lot going on, but what does he take here? Probably Chalice, I'd imagine. Yep, Chalice is down. Finds a Reality Smasher. He knows about the wasteland, so what's he going to fetch here? He fetches a volcanic. As Felix wastes no time wastelanding that. It does keep Felix a turn off because he could have played Reality Smasher next turn if he didn't wasteland right there. But I think the wasteland was the correct play. Very tough for the reanimated player to overcome turn 0 Leyline of the Void. Okay, so setting up next turn Reality Smasher. He can show and tell here if he wishes. And he's going to do that, yep. So it'll be Chancellor against Reality Smasher or Endbringer. Chancellor will outclass the Endbringer. And Chancellor is not non-legendary, so it gets around Caracas as well. Endbringer is going to be able to draw Felix cards. And he's going to do that. See what he can find. Eric with the Lotus Petal again. A Warping Whale. Not bad. Counter sorcery spells. Endless 1, 2, 4. Endless 1 can be cast for he's got to pay 1 tax, so it'll only be a 5/5. He's just taking the slow route here, just pinging 1 at a time. 17 turn clock. As Eric decides enough is enough, I'm going to race you. I don't think that's going to work, particularly when this time he's drawing cards. Once Reality Smasher comes down here, and there's a He's got a Thorn. You can see the Grafdigger's Cage. This is becoming quite bad. Although, having said that, Grafdigger's Cage, if Eric was to peel a Wear Tear here, he can actually, he has the mana and the 2 Lotus Petals to interesting. Felix doesn't want to pay the 1. Ah, he can't because Thorn of the Amethyst. Thorn of the Amethyst and yeah. Nice. So what happened there is Felix tried to play Grafdigger's Cage. He only had the Eldrazi Temple. He tried to play Grafdigger's Cage and got 2 triggers, one from the Thorn and one from the Chancellor. So he could only pay for 1. So he is kind of, his Thorn ended up being his own Thorn in his side. Endbringer starting to go to work on the Chancellor now. He's going to push through 10 damage. And that's it. That's a concession. So Felix will take Legacy 2 games to 1 and Legacy title and the European Championship and the Standard and Modern. So he's won everything this year. Congratulations to Felix. And thank you for joining me on the stream.